got a lot to talk about today, so get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments below. Yeah, what we're looking at right now is the latest release from Arrow. That's right. Arrow actually released a UFO video of this anomalous looking object moving around in anomalous ways. I guess some might think this is impressive, but there's no information, no context to this thing at all. As it stands right now, it's a very unimpressive video. We don't have any witnesses coming forward or any witness statements. We don't know where this was taken, when this was taken, what platform it was taken from, how fast this thing is moving. We don't know anything about this object, but this is apparently an object that Arrow could not debunk, which is interesting, I guess. But meanwhile, they're perfectly happy to run around debunking Gimbal and Go Fast, which were truly anomalous incidents. But this is one they couldn't debunk. All right, whatever, Arrow. It is what it is. But all right. Meanwhile, we'll go to the mystery drone flap in Europe the other day, where they were shutting down one or two airports in Europe. But was it one or was it two? From Christopher Sharp. New statement from Oslo police via email regarding Monday's events. No evidence to confirm that drones were present. On Monday evening, the police received reports of possible drone activity, which resulted in a temporary suspension of flights at Oslo Airport. Eastern Police District has opened an investigation. At this stage, there is no evidence to confirm that drones were present, and we cannot provide further details on specific investigative measures. We are not able to discuss information regarding any use of counter-drone equipment, as this information is classified for security reasons. So they're not going to tell us if they tried to shoot this thing down, if there was anything to shoot down. So that's interesting. Now, Christopher Sharp says, just to avoid confusion, there were two incidents. One in Copenhagen, where footage and accounts of multiple drones exist. The second was Oslo. So was there something happening in Oslo or not? Because we were told, yeah, there was mystery drone activity at Copenhagen and Oslo. But now they're saying, hey, maybe not so fast. Maybe it didn't happen in Oslo. However, there is this video supposedly from Oslo where you see this anomalous object. Now, to me, that looks like a classic UFO, an orb, bright light in the sky, not necessarily a mystery drone. However, we have seen, or it appears from multiple witness accounts and from multiple videos, that sometimes orbs will transform into mystery drones. So, who knows what this object was, but this is apparently from Oslo. So is this why the airport was shut down and not from anything that looked like a drone? Yeah, at this time, we don't know. So we'll see how things shake out. But we still don't have any answers on the seemingly genuine mystery drone activity at Copenhagen, which did force the shutdown of the airport. Now, President Trump has commented on all of this.
Have you been briefed on the latest alleged drone incursion into Denmark? What do you think of that? And
Where are they?
Into Denmark, Copenhagen. Denmark is saying that there were some drones that shut down the airport, possibly Russian sabotage. What's your response to that? Will the U.S. have a material?
Well, I have no response until I find out exactly what happened. I know about it, but they don't know what happened. But we're going to find out very soon.
Okay, so they don't know what happened. I'm sure that Susie's going to get to the bottom of it very soon. And it'll all turn out to be FAA approved flights for research and other purposes for some reason in Europe. Why not? But yeah, there you go. There is an official response from President Trump. Now, I gave him flack for that, and flack was probably well earned there. However, I do understand the rationale of not revealing that the mystery drones are anomalous, that this very well could be ET. Now, what's the rationale for that? Because if you admitted the mystery drones are anomalous, that is catastrophic disclosure. You're admitting to the American public and to the people of the world that anomalous objects, possibly operated by NHI, are able to go into our most secret facilities over their airspace with impunity, forcing the shutdown of those facilities, even forcing, in the case of the US, at one point, the relocation of fighter jets from one base to another. I don't know why that other base would have been better than the first base, but I do understand that this could be considered catastrophic disclosure. But that is because the powers that be have lied to us for 80 years. They have dug themselves into this hole, and now they can't tell us the truth because it would freak people out. Well, at least that's what Eric Davis is saying recently. He has been saying that, yeah, we shouldn't see the UFO videos, because if we did, it would freak everybody out.
Right.
So you're gonna get these voices that are gonna be brought together under the direction of a PED that's going to tell the president, under no circumstance can you do this. So I think this is going on with President Trump not going forward to fulfill his campaign promise to declassify more of the military sensor platforms and military weapon and military other platforms, or I should say other military platforms that have clear and unambiguous high caliber, high precision detections of UAPs, is because it's gonna reveal too much about the existence of the platforms, number one, the sensing systems, number two, and it's going to probably be a little too much for the American public to want to digest or be able to digest when they see what's on those videos.
Okay, too much for the American people to digest. I call BS on that, Eric Davis. Love you, but no. If you can handle it, why can't the rest of us? Meanwhile, as shared by Wixie, an orb appears and then disappears on camera from Greater Manchester, UK, from September 21st. We see this object in the sky. Is that an orb? It doesn't look like quite spherical to me. It looks like it's got more of a shape, more of an anomalous, weird shape, changing shape even. Really cool sighting. I don't know what the heck that thing is. Is that other dimensional vehicle? Is that a plasma being? What is that thing? And then it just winks out of existence. Love it. That is a great sighting, I think, of something that to me looks very anomalous. I mean, look at that. Shifting light, throwing light around, changing shape. What is going on there? Yeah, and then you see that like weird force field thing being activated. That is awesome. That is cool footage, guys. I like that a lot. Well, let me know if you're as high on that foot as I am, because I think that is just gangbusters UFO footage. Yeah, look at that. That is just super cool. Meanwhile, what's going on with the UFO Disclosure Amendment in Congress? The UAP Disclosure Amendment, the Schumer Rounds or Round-Schumer Amendment. Is it going to be going forward? Is it going to be attached to the NDAA? Well, here's a new article talking about it. Missouri congressman accuses government of blocking UAP information. Eric Burleson announced this week that he has filed the UAP Disclosure Act of 2025 as an amendment to the upcoming defense policy bill. This would require federal agencies to hold on to UAP records and make them available to the public through a new collection at the National Archives. And it goes into what the amendment would do, the Schumer Rounds Amendment, ban destruction or alterations of UAP records, create a dedicated UAP records collection at the National Archives, establish an independent review board to oversee the release of documents, require disclosure within 25 years, unless the president certifies a national security reason for the delay, which of course he or she would 25 years later, provide ongoing congressional oversight of the process. Burleson has spoken out about UAPs in the last few months about what he sees as federal evasiveness on the issue. During a September House Oversight Committee hearing, he played a video of a U.S. drone firing at what looked like a glowing orb off the coast of Yemen and questioned why incidents like this aren't being fully disclosed or talked about. Hell yeah. Well, this is on the heels of this article here from Christopher Sharp at Liberation Times, who says, providing an update on the Senate's NDAA process in the UAPDA's hopes of being included. UAPDA is, of course, the Disclosure Amendment. Kevin Wright from the UAP advocacy organization known as New Paradigm Institute commented, the Senate is currently debating its version of the NDAA. The UAPDA was not part of the original NDAA draft or the version initially advanced for Senate floor debate. When the Senate voted to proceed with the bill, Senator Roger Wicker, chair of the Senate Armed Services Committee, filed a substitute amendment that replaced the entire NDAA text. This substitute incorporated numerous other amendments, but did not include the full UAPDA, though it does contain some limited provisions related to UAP reporting, intercepts, and classification. The Senate then voted to proceed with the substitute amendment. At this point, the status of incorporating the UAPDA remains uncertain, and the prospects do not appear promising, as it's not in the current substitute amendment. However, nothing is done until the Senate casts its final votes. If that holds, Chris Sharp says, it would mark a third consecutive year the measure fails to be meaningfully implemented. It would also raise questions regarding how invested those senators supporting the UAPDA are in their own bill. If the UAPDA does fail, sources tell Liberation Times that they are uncertain if it will return. So yeah, there you go. There's some positive and negative thoughts on the Disclosure Amendment. Jonathan Davies says this about Senator Roger Wicker. He says, no surprises. This is the guy, Senator Roger Wicker, who is killing the Disclosure Amendment. According to Federal Election Commission data analyzed by Open Secrets, Wicker is the top Senate recipient of defense industry contributions in the 2024 cycle. So yeah, that could potentially explain what's going on if he is in the pocket of the control group. But things do seem to be going forward in the House, so we'll see how that goes. And it looks like George Knapp might actually help Eric Burleson get some names to be subpoenaed.
What did you think of George Knapp here naming some names today?
I've got some names I want to go over with you. I've got some names I want to go over with you. People that we're looking at potentially subpoena.
Well, I will help add some names to that list.
So are you serious
Going
about
to add some names to the list. George is going to help Eric add some names to the list of people to be subpoenaed. I love the idea that George Knapp is assisting with the disclosure process with sitting U.S. congressmen. After decades of reporting on UFOs, he is now actually part of the official disclosure process. That is just so cool. Speaking of George, this is one of my favorite stories that George ever related.
They come down this dirt road one night and they see two figures, humanoid-looking figures standing up with their backs to the road and looked like they were smoking cigarettes. They had trench coats on, smoking cigarettes, standing out on the road. These guys figure, what are these fellas up to? So they're pulling up and they go shining their lights on the guys, and they turn around and they were dogs.
Who knew the dog men had a smoking problem? I wish George had related that story in Congress. Meanwhile, Michael Batista, the psionic asset of Skywatcher, who has been making waves recently, has released a cleaned up portion of one of his videos. He says, this is a much cleaner view thanks to ProPixels, a true expert in his craft. Ross Coulthart, thanks again for all your support. The entity is on the ground and it can be seen moving from right to left. Please repost this as much as possible. Okay. All right. Let's see if we can get a better gander of this being as it's moving from right to left. There's definitely something moving going behind those rocks. Is that what it's doing? Yeah, I mean, it definitely looks sharper than the pixelated original video. But it's still hard to tell what you're looking at or make anything definitive out. Now, I believe Mike. I think Mike is a truth teller I don't think his footage is going to convince a lot of people. But for those of us that are, already acclimated to the weird stuff, it's definitely interesting, and I take it seriously. I wish it was something that was going to change people's minds, but I don't think it is. However, it's certainly fascinating, and I think it is authentic footage of something anomalous. Or maybe they're just raccoons. Let me know what you think about it all in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Hit the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. Love to see you guys there. If you want to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, consider grabbing a coffee mug or a t-shirt in the merch store below, or by becoming a channel member. Channel members are rock stars, and I really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you. Meanwhile, there's plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.